Today we are going to take a look at the real purchase cost for every item that you are going to buy. And there are at least 4 layers of cost that you need to stack on top of each other before making a buying decision. Hello and welcome. My name is Peter B. and I welcome you here at My First Million, where we are achieving our financial goals together. Yes, you heard it right. In the introduction, there are at least 4 layers of cost that you need to take into consideration when making a purchasing decision. And for this video, we are taking an example of buying a car. But besides buying a car, you can apply the same concept to every single item that you're going to buy, either small or big. It could be as big as purchasing a house, and also something small, like going to a restaurant or buying a small item from a grocery store. But as said, we are taking the purchase cost of a car into consideration for the example for this video. So to jump in, the first layer should be pretty clear. It's the list price, the purchase price that you're paying for the item. So for instance, for the car, if you see it's selling for $30,000 US, this is your purchase price, and this is the first layer of cost that you need to take into consideration. So this is the most obvious one, and probably everyone will take this into consideration. But then, on top of the first layer, let's stack up the second layer of cost. And this is called total cost of ownership. If you're purchasing a car, will you really just pay $30,000? Is this the only expense that you're going to occur? No, there are many additional things that you need to take into consideration. For instance, there are running costs that you need to take into consideration. If you drive the car, you need to buy gas regularly. So in contrast of not having a car, you need to pay for gas and have additional expense for running the car. Then also you have maintenance cost that you need to take into consideration. From time to time, you need to maybe change the tires, get new tires, or you need to exchange some filters, or some small things are breaking and you need to fix them. So there's maintenance cost that you need to take into consideration. Then there are something that I would call add-on cost. That is not directly to the item, but it's related to the item. And in the car situation, it could be that you need to rent or even buy a parking lot so that you can park the car somewhere. So you also need to take this into consideration. Or maybe if you usually take the car to drive to the office, you also need to rent a parking lot in your office. So let's take a quick break here on the example. Can you maybe also think of some examples of an add-on cost if you're buying a new house? Do you have any ideas? This could be, for example, if you're buying a new house, you need to buy new furniture that matches to the house. So every purchase, there could be some add-on cost, especially the big ticket items. Then an additional cost, which also falls into the category of total cost of ownership, is insurances. Especially for the cars, you probably need to buy some insurances. Then also tax that you need to occur. This could be one-time sales tax when you purchase the item, but it also could be recurring taxations to drive the vehicle. And moreover, total cost of ownership will take the whole life cycle of the item into consideration. So also at the end, you might occur some recycling cost that you need to take into consideration. This could be happening for a car. Maybe you can still sell the parts. So in a car, maybe it's less common, but maybe for electronic equipment, this could be happening. So now we already have 2 layers of cost into consideration. So now let's take a third layer into consideration. And this is the time that you're spending to purchasing this item or even maintaining the item. So this could be time before the purchase. Maybe you do more research. What car you want to buy? Which one is the best one for your use case? Which one do you like? what are the specifications that you're caring about. So there's a lot of time, especially in a car, that goes into research. Then also there's the time that you need to spend on picking up the car. Go to the dealership, write the contract and pick up the car. Then also, maybe depending on the product, there's time to assemble the product, to make the product ready. In the case of a car, this shouldn't be too high of a cost, but maybe in other areas like furnitures, if you buy furnitures from IKEA, this could be a big portion that you need to take into consideration. Then of course there's time for maintenance that you need to take into consideration, especially for a car. And also time for training. If you're buying a new car, you're probably not used to all the functionalities yet. So you need to study the car. What functionalities are in there? Which ones are the ones that you're using? Which buttons to press at which situation? And I just recently heard from an interview from Warren Buffett the reasoning why he's not purchasing a new type of car. He's always purchasing, so to speak, the same boring car. Just because he doesn't want to spend the time on learning the functionalities within the car. He thinks even for a big purchase like a car, his time is much better spent on doing something else, like going to work or spend time with his family. So he doesn't want to have a fancy, nice car that you would usually attribute to a rich person. So now we already have 3 layers. First one, purchase cost. Second one, total cost of ownership. Third one is the time that you spent on the purchase. And then the last layer that you need to take into consideration is cost of opportunity. And for cost of opportunity, there are 3 areas that you need to take into consideration. First, the money that you're spending, you could spend it on something else. So if you're buying a car, instead of buying a car, you could use this money to take public transportation and use a taxi, and maybe financially would be much better off. Then you have some money left to do something else, to have another kind of lifestyle that you're maybe seeking. So you could spend your money for something else. Then also you could spend your time on something else. Instead of researching a car, if you just take public transportation and maybe a taxi or Uber, then maybe you're saving even more time, especially if you're usually not traveling into a far distance. So you could use the time for something else, to spend with your family or do something more productive. And the last cost of opportunity, of course, for your money. You don't necessarily need to spend it for something else. If you don't make the purchase, especially a purchase that is not necessary, you could use the money and invest. And in general for me, I usually calculate a very long-term time horizon for my investments. So I'm in my mid-30s still, and I would say I still have maybe 50 years to go in my life ahead. So if I have 50 other years, I could take every dollar that I'm spending and put it into an investment. And the more money that I can save and invest at a young age, the easier it will be at a later time in my life. Because this money has time to compound and generate a better and better rate of return for me. So this is it. These were the 4 layers of costs that you need to take into consideration. To sum it up, first one, the purchase price. Second one, total cost of ownership. Third one, the time that you're spending. And fourth one, cost of opportunity. And as said, not just for a car. You can apply this concept for every other purchase that you're making. Are you taking all 4 layers of cost into consideration when you're making a buying decision? Or are there other factors that you also take into consideration? Please share with us in the comments below. Thanks a lot for joining me today. I look forward to seeing you in the next video, and especially I look forward to seeing you winning financially.